Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today we're doing another short video, and this one is about Ghost Recon Wildlands and about how too much customization and too much variety is a bad thing. Now you guys know me, I love my customization, I love my variety. Ever since I played Battlefield 4, or even before that, just playing Black Ops 1 after playing a bunch of weird online free FPS games, the concept of class and loadout customization has been so important to me with FPS games that games without it feel absolutely empty to me. Well, that's not true. I have played games without any sort of competent weapon customization or loadout customization, no perks or power-ups, and they're just fine. And some games really don't need it. But today we're not talking about loadout customization, we're talking about the worst kind. And that's right, the kind that's always available all of the time. Let's take a look at Ghost Recon Wildlands, a game where at any moment you can open up a menu and completely change and customize your loadout and appearance. Now, I am not a psychologist and I can't go through all the fancy terminology, so let me just explain this in layman's terms because that's where I live. If everything is possible, nothing is special. When the weapon in your character's hands in a first-person shooter or third-person shooter or a shooter of any kind, any game where you have a gun, if in that game your gun can be swapped out at random at any time for whatever reason just to suit your needs, it loses all of its value. Same thing goes for your character's appearance, although that doesn't affect gameplay. One of the things I noticed about Ghost Recon Wildlands was that nothing really has a sense of permanency. There's not really a sense of relationship to my character. Now, Far Cry 5 makes finding weapons and changing your loadouts very available and very easy, but it is still much harder to go find a weapon shop in Far Cry 5, as easy as it is, than to just hit a button on your controller, go over to the loadout page, and select any of the weapons. Now, this type of oversaturated option is not good, but there's a different issue with Ghost Recon Wildlands, and that is the fact that you don't need to use certain weapons. Obviously, yes, you're going to want to use certain guns for certain situations, and luckily the game lets you switch anytime, but what I'm talking about is way worse. You see, Ghost Recon Wildlands doesn't really hide attachments from you. You get the intel, which is marked on your map, and then that intel tells you exactly where particular attachments are, and then you can go and seek them out. And towards the mid to late game, you just see where an attachment is and you fast travel to the area nearest to it, go over there, usually kill some guys, grab the weapon or weapon part, and now you have it. And a lot of them are universal, like sights for assault rifles or SMGs. They're not always specific to a certain weapon. The way they could have made it so that each gun you're using has value while you're using it is have a sort of Call of Duty weapon level system, where the more you use the gun, the more attachments you get for the weapon. I know other games do it too, but I'm a faggot. Let me relate everything to Call of Duty. So instead of just fast travel hopping to these different attachment and weapon points, you'd actually have to level up these weapons and certain skills to unlock them. But no, it's just a little game of fast travel and mouse, and then you get everything. Now, before you bring up the tier mode in Ghost Recon Wildlands, let me just say, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about customization and overly saturated option paralysis levels of variety. You see, when a player doesn't have to go to certain locations to change their loadout, they don't have to go to certain places to save their game, they don't have to find certain people to get certain things, they don't have to follow clues, and the game hands them everything and then allows them to access it whenever they want, the game loses a lot of its value, tension, and challenge. So it gets to the point where you get this awkward feeling where you're playing a game and you have to play it a certain way. So when I play Ghost Recon Wildlands, I don't randomly change my outfit all the time, I don't call in vehicles, and I don't randomly switch my weapons and attachments every time I feel the whim to, which is really easy to do. Oh, I want the ACOG, now I want the red dot, now I want the M4, now I want the SCAR, now I want the SR25, now I want a shotgun, and you can just do that throughout the game. And when you have to choose not to do things in a game, it's not terrible. Like, for instance, I think Fallout 4 is best when you ignore the story and just wander around the wasteland and play it like an old school RPG, very open-ended. There are ways we can alter the way the game is, meant to be played or marketed, and we can find our own fun in it. I think too many people play games wrong and don't like them, and that's a thing. But in Ghost Recon Wildlands, you're not, changing the way you play, you're avoiding an entire aspect of the game. So let's say you had an SMG and a sniper rifle, and then you get into a very heavy firefight with lots of cartel and Munidad swarming you. Instead of having a sense of tension, you have one or two things happening. You're either actively going, don't switch your weapons, don't switch your weapons, and that's a very weird feeling, like you're kind of playing pretend and you're creating rules within a game that already should have rules. And then you also have the thing where you're just, oh, I'm gonna switch to a light machine gun. 1 second, Mr. Unidad guys, let me just pull this out, and you switch to a light machine gun, and then you mow them all down. Not packing a grenade launcher or a sniper rifle or a close range weapon when you have only long range weapons should put you at a detriment, but in Ghost Recon Wildlands it doesn't. Therefore, it's the perfect example of too much variety, too much customization, all at the player's fingertips. How would I have fixed this? I would have made it so you at least can only change your loadouts at safe houses or the loadout boxes that are featured around the map, or the ammo boxes. They shouldn't be called loadout boxes because it just brings you to the menu you can access all the time. Also, this one's a little bit more over the moon, but I thought it would have been cool that when you're playing single player, you can request your teammates' weapons. So you can request an LMG or an assault rifle and kind of like swap loadouts with your buddy, and so you have to like go up to them and like hold a button to like switch loadouts, and that could have been interesting. Also, when gearing up for a mission, it should lock in a loadout for your co-op group, so you'll all have to kind of coordinate what loadouts you're using, instead of just going into a firefight and going, oh, we need an LMG, and I'll just be like, oh, I'll just switch to that real quick. A little bit of structure creates value, because when you can't have everything, the things you do have matter a lot more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you when I see ya. Goodbye.